Hey guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Trevor Johnson. This is the Outlook Industries podcast brought to you by Crestview Studios here in Rapid City, South Dakota. Today we got the pleasure of talking to Sam Wiens. He is a sponsored scooter rider from Colorado, one of my good friends, and just a really inspiring individual with lots of big plans for the future. We talked a lot in this podcast about his meme page, Support Your Local Gas Station, and the scooter industry in general. I'm excited for you guys to hear this conversation. Let's get right into it.
It's the Outlook Podcast. We're here at the Outlook Podcast. Just we're here. We're talking to cool people.
Hey guys, and welcome to the first ever Outlook Industries podcast. I am here with my good friend, Sam Wiens. He is a great scooter rider. He's a great friend. He's a cool dude. He's a film student too, actually. So
yes, sir. That is.
We're going to get into some cool stuff in this podcast. So keep listening, guys. All right. I think we should start with kind of how we met. So I'll have you start, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, it's a rather simple story, actually. I had gotten back from Australia and New Zealand in early to mid 2019. And I was preparing to go to school after my gap year had wrapped up. And I decided to attend CSU as a freshman. And I hadn't known that you were currently attending school in Laramie up in Wyoming, which is
because I've been going to Laramie for like 2 years by then, or a year or whatever. So.
And it's just a hop, skip, and a jump away from Fort Collins.
And it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny because what happened, actually, why I messaged you in the first place and how I even found your Instagram is Ty Smith was like, yo, you know, Sam's going to CSU, right? And I was like, Sam who? So then I followed you on Instagram and started messaging you, hitting you up a little bit. So
yeah. That was like probably around late summer, fall 2019 that started happening. And I think it sort of originated as Instagram comments that were somewhere along the lines of, hey, I'm up in Wyoming, not too far from you. We should ride sometime. And considering there weren't a ton of locals in Fort Collins, surprisingly, I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to ride with some new folks. And you happen to be one of them. Fast forward maybe less than a month later. And we arranged for you to come down, and I think it was just was it a Denver day or was it a Fort Collins day that day?
Okay, I can kind of remember it like distinctly because I remember like calling you after I just got your number and being like, yo, I'm lost. I'm in campus somewhere. How do
I was trying to like verbally direct Trevor through campus to an area where he could park legally and we could kind of convene and go from there. And it was a struggle at first, but once we figured it out, our routine was just like so consistent.
Yeah, it was.
So that was really good. We hit it off like immediately as well, which
wasn't that the day that we drove all the way down to like Arvada and then didn't we go to the Joker at the Arvada?
Yeah, I think that was the first one.
I think so too.
Was it?
Because the second time that we went with John, then we went to the Denver theater. That's another whole story in itself.
The first one? Yeah. Yeah, the first one was Joker. You're right.
Yes. Yep.
In late October, I think, was around the time because
wasn't that
Joker came
Ferrari?
out?
Wait, wasn't that Ford versus Ferrari that we went to, and then we went to Joker with John?
No, we went to. Those are two separate trips.
I know they're two separate trips, but
we did both of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, I believe Joker was first.
Yeah.
I believe Joker was the first one. And man, was that trip insane. That was one of still to this day, one of the coolest days of my life. And I'm not kidding you when I'm saying that. Like sorry about that.
There you
The
go.
riding was fantastic.
Oh, it was
We rode Denver skate
Yep.
park, I think, for
D
a little
Park.
bit. D Park, rode Arvada. I'm trying to think of some of the other places we rode.
Was that the time we went to Golden too?
No, not the same
Okay,
trip.
because that was the other trip with John when we went to like
That was Ford
what's that
versus
little
Ferrari.
town? What is that little town that we went to? The Alt skate park.
Alt. I think we went to Alt the first time too, though, didn't we?
Yeah.
We went to Alt and kind of
Yep.
circled around, and we went to Windsor on the
Yes,
way.
Windsor. That's right. And you
And
battled that rail for so long.
And we did the kinker that you need to actually see in person to believe
It's
how gnarly
brutally bad,
it is.
dude. It is like someone hit it with a hammer, and
It looks ideal. It looks ideal on film, but you get there and there's dings and nicks all throughout that thing. It is like
the death trap.
It is like grinding a cheese grater the whole time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like it's probably one of the most satisfying and unique rails I've ever done, much less seen at a skate park.
Oh yeah,
So,
sure.
I mean, it's just like a really beautiful feature, regardless of what condition it's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I really liked doing that. We were trying to do board through the whole thing to Manny, and then I was going to try a combo on the flat bar, which
weren't you going to
definitely
to
wouldn't
like
have been done.
Something off?
I think I was going to try to do board Manny, hop Manny precision, and then trick out.
Oh my goodness.
Which would have been crazy. I'm pretty confident with that after I actually get into it, though. And the hardest part was the little nub on the end of that double kink rail.
Kick out. Yeah.
Which really throws you for a loop. I think I remember saying in the in that video somewhere, I said like it's like you're in a manual and someone kicks your wheel and tries to screw you loose. Like that's exactly what it is. That's that little. I think I remember saying at the end of the video, it's like a little plot twist at the end. Like I just think that's kind of a good way to describe it. But yeah, great start to the day, and I think we finished there like still early, like 9:30, 10 a.m. So
it was early.
Still had plenty of day to go. And I also want to recall it got off to a gnarly start from Alt because I had slammed a few times at Alt and crushed my elbow. And we went to Windsor, and in the parking lot, my elbow was a water balloon, dude.
If you guys don't know what video we're talking about, I'll link it.
Please watch it. I mean, all the videos are great, but that one is so. I think the best way I can describe that whole video in its entirety, especially because of the end, is atmospheric. That's a very atmospheric video, and it's got like some really cool tone throughout. You know, it's like this kind of this calm fervor that you feel when watching it, and like the riding just gets better and better, and then slowly towards the end of the night, it kind of like cools off again.
Yeah.
That was also the day that I slammed really goddamn hard at Arvada on the.
Oh, I remember that.
And then we kind of had to. So like I was doing this bar manual around the pocket of the mini bowl, which is one of my favorite features at Arvada. Great skate park. And I just looped out on a whip in, slammed. Hilarious. How? What was I like? Thumbnail.
Yeah, you were just rolling on the ground. You're like dying, and he's like, "Oh, thumbnail."
Thumbnail.
I'm pretty sure that's the thumbnail of the video too. I'm sure it is.
Yeah. And we kind of had to chill out a little bit after that. Hung out with some of the locals, people that ride Arvada. Some of them are a little bit sus, but a lot of the locals are really cool.
Oh, they're my guys. Shout out
Denver
to Owen
scene.
Jensen.
Shout out to Owen. Shout out to Lucas Hyde.
I love Lucas.
Sorry if I'm butchering your name.
Yep.
Shout out Lance.
Lance.
Lanta's probably gonna watch this and screen record this part and put it on his story.
He better, dude. That kid. Okay, his front threes, dude.
Oh, his feeble front threes.
I just go whenever I go to Arvada and see Lance. I'm like, Lance, let's see it. Let's see it.
He always does like hanger stalls and the little thing, and everyone calls him Mini Shaq.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Fond memories.
All right.
And then I remember we kind of like had to take it easy after I slammed, and it kind of got a little darker, and we were like kind of pondering what to do next. We spent like 4 or 5 hours at Arvada, but it was great. Like the weather was fantastic. Yeah. I don't remember being too hot at all during that time. So it must have been a spectacular day. It was like pretty bluebird, like a SoCal quality day.
I just remember being completely exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we linked up with my friend John.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And he actually came to he came with us to Arvada. And then after that we split off and went to Burger King, which I had never been to ever.
Yeah, I don't know how Sam can go through life and not have gone to Burger King.
It's crazy because the Burger King here in Durango is my most frequented fast food joint.
Oh,
so
gross.
just because I'm a real cheapskate and I can find some finesse deals there. And then we got some food there, and we were like, we just want to like put the cherry on top of this day. And I had heard about the film Joker, but hadn't seen it.
Sam's talking to me, right? And he's like, "Oh, I'm a film major," and I'm like, "Have you seen Joker?" And Sam's like, "No, I haven't seen Joker." And I'm like, "I've already watched it like twice in theaters. Like, we have to go."
Yeah.
So I literally just forced him to go to Joker. I was like, "We have to go to this."
And this is where the day got really crazy.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, cool. We could just like drive into the city, park right next to the theater, and be chilling, and that's great. We can keep our scooters in the car. It'd be so ideal. Yeah. And then we're like, oh man, there's no places to park. All these parking meters are expensive. We don't want to do this. Where's one place we know of that you don't have to pay for parking as long as it's not overnight?
Yeah.
D Park.
Yeah.
The skate park. And so we parked on Little Raven Street, which goes parallel to D Park. And we rode our scooters up 16th Street Mall.
Oh yeah. At like 10 o'clock. It was like 9:30.
At like 9 or 10. We were going to a pretty late showing of Joker. And yeah, it was a really like euphoric night. Again, like I'm gonna revert back to that word. Like it was so atmospheric.
Yeah,
like the twinkling holiday lights. People were already preparing for a Christmas season.
Oh, that was awesome. Just riding down that street, dude. Oh,
there were horse-drawn carriages going by. We played piano with a couple locals that were kind of just hanging out. We rode our scooters and did flat tricks for some couples that were out on date nights. And finally, we rocked up to the theater and we were like, oh, yes, we're in. We're going to be able to do this. What do we do with our scooters?
Yeah.
Oh, and this, like, when I tell you this theater is in a mall, it is in a mall, and it is on the top floor of a mall. So like
ride an escalator up to get to the theater.
There is no way to conceal your scooter. You can't find nook and crannies, a nook or a cranny anywhere to put your scooter, especially for that extensive of a period of time.
Yeah.
And so what we ended up doing was we found the back of a restaurant, back of a kitchen of a restaurant.
No. What we found is we put them behind that sign at the restaurant because we thought we're like, oh wait, we'll slide them back here.
Yeah.
I walked out.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So we figured we could just conceal them behind the sign of this restaurant that was a couple stories above the ground. And one of the cooks came out the back, and this dude was so chill. I was a little skeptical at first. It seemed like something kind of sus, but he's like, dude, just put it inside this door. They'll be here when you guys get out of there.
This door never locks. This door never locks.
We got you. This door never locks. And I was scared to death that wasn't true. And the door was going to lock. We would never see our scooters again.
Yep.
3 scooters. We were like, we have to do this movie. So we trusted him out of impulse decision. We trusted him. We went and saw Joker, and it was a fantastic experience.
Me and Sam.
One of my favorite.
The entire time.
Oh man, one of my favorite, if not my favorite film ever made, and it capped off a truly incredible day. And that was like the first real day that you and I hung out.
Oh yeah,
I think was Joker. Yeah, it was Joker, and like I will remember that day for the rest of my life.
Oh,
guaranteed.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
It was so amazing. Like truly that is the epitome of what scootering means to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not all about landing the most tricks or being the best at what you do. Just like having fun with your friends and riding and exploring new places and trying new things. It doesn't have to be on the scooter at all anyway. It can just be with like-minded individuals, and it's always a great time. So.
It's almost like a social tool. Like it's almost like a tool to find friends and just to have people hang out
absolutely. With. It's one of those things that it's like a signal that says I'm like you because I like to have fun and cruise around on my scooter.
Yep.
And that I feel like the scootering industry is so beautiful because the type of people that ride scooters are the type of people that don't do it to look cool. No one rides a scooter to look cool. No one rides a scooter to look cool because it's like this socially kind of bizarre children's toy aesthetic that is kind of looked down upon in some ways, to put it bluntly.
Oh yeah.
So you know that there's that kind of collective understanding. That's that silent understanding that between scooter riders that we all kind of think alike, and that's what kind of binds us together. And I definitely found that in Trevor. So really cool.
It's been great
first time experience. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that segues almost perfectly into support your local gas station.
Oh man,
which we have to talk about.
Okay, yeah, no, this is great. Okay, so the origins of my
first, what is support your local gas station for people who don't know?
Support your local gas station is my meme page. It's a scooter meme page.
It's the primary scooter meme page.
It's my scooter meme page, and the amount of growth it has sustained has been truly mind-boggling. Like,
it's crazy.
I guess not necessarily in the sense that it has tons of followers, but people really enjoy it. And like, that sounds like something that sounds like me boasting, but it's really like, I look at that page not as my clout, but more as my contribution to the scootering industry.
It blows my mind how many pro riders will comment on your stuff. That blows my mind. Like it's not even like this external, like, scootering meme page. It's like this internal scootering meme page for people who are like really in the industry.
It's almost turned into a forum at this point.
It totally has. Yeah.
The amount of conversation and discussion that goes on in the comments section is truly mind-boggling.
It's awesome.
Not to mention, I have like tons of DM message requests on that page. People asking me what movies I like the most. This show, you should meme this, talk about this. I like the page. You should do more of this. And like, it's just like really reassuring to me that I'm doing the right thing with that page at the moment. And all
the stuff you come up with, it's so entertaining. Like for me and for everybody else I know, they're like, dude, look at this, like the reshares and stuff. Like I see them all the time. So it's just like, you got to be doing something right.
Yeah, thanks. Definitely, like, people relate to the content. Like plain and simple. That's pretty much what warrants the story reshares and the amount of publicity those posts get. So yeah, I mean, the origins of the page are actually very specific. So the name Support Your Local Gas Station. It's funny. This is the first time I'm publicly disclosing this.
Awesome.
It's not from Northern Limited, which many people speculate because their clothing and some of their old videos have that tag on them, or their old posts, which is Daniel Cardenas's company, Northern Limited Apparel.
Yeah.
Shout out to him, by the way. Killing it with that company. I love all those totally Northern Limited guys. But yeah, it has nothing to do with that. It's actually it originates with me, my good friend Pierce Goodwin, and my good friend John Cross, who all attended Woodward West together in the year 2018. This was like a couple months before I left for Australia. And and when you ride Woodward for so long and you're kind of in that environment, like, don't get me wrong, Woodward is fantastic. It's like a really cool environment for people to grow
I love it
and hone their skills, talk to a ton of new people, meet pros, establish contacts with people that they're going to have for the rest of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
But some things you get a little bit burnt out of. And one of those things was the food. When you're there for 7 weeks, when you're there for 7 weeks, like I was, 7 times 7 weeks.
Really?
Times.
Were you working as like an OSI or a counselor or something?
I was a counselor all 7 weeks. No, OSI one of the 7 weeks at the very beginning, and then I was counselor for the remaining 6.
Wow.
Yeah, so 7 times 7. Wait. 7 times 7, 49 times 3. 3 meals a day. Yeah. So that number is the amount of meals that I would have had at Woodward.
Uh-huh.
And you just can't do that there.
No, you can't. No, it's brutal.
So
yeah, exactly what you're talking about. It's
so
the same, we joke about it because there's a prison right down the road, so we're like, oh, we're just eating prison food.
The truck goes.
I love
ways,
Woodward, but man,
like you got to make your money somehow, and they got to save some with the food. So it's understandable. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
And the second option that we were granted was either this super dank pub down the street called P-Dubs, which many people are familiar with. No, it's more of a burger place.
In Stallion Springs, right?
It is literally within a stone's throw of the front gate of Woodward. It is right there.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, yeah.
It's called P-Dubs. Many locals will know about that. Like people that frequent Woodward West will know about P-Dubs.
Yeah. It's
fantastic. I would have probably eaten there every night if I could, except the calories would have been insurmountable.
Yeah.
As well as the burnt hole in my wallet. So that was kind of a special occasion, maybe one meal a week, maybe two type thing with Pierce and John. Yeah. So every other day or every other time that we wouldn't go to P-Dubs and we wouldn't want to have the Woodward food, we'd go to the local Chevron, which is the gas station right across the street from P-Dubs. Yeah. And they had like pretty reasonably priced stuff. It's like one of those kind of middle of nowhere gas stations. So they can charge anything because they can kind of thing. And so like
20 minutes to,
I was a little bit out, like you were like, you had that, like, I'm kind of getting ripped off, but it's not terrible. Yeah. And like, it was better than getting stuff from the canteen at Woodward. So we would go there frequently to get snack food, occasionally some like taquitos or hot dogs or some sort of like somewhat substantial food. Yeah. And we kind of like established a code phrase for that because we frequented it so much. And John Cross was kind of the leading man of this because he would use the word gas all the time to describe anything that he was fond of. Yep. So like gas. That shit is so gas. Damn, that was gas. This is gonna be gas. Like, he would say that all the time. But like kind of pucker your lip and do the whole like, so bro, this is gonna be gas, bro. It's gonna be insane, bro. That
sounds about right.
That's the John Cross go-to phrase. And whenever we would like kind of want to pick up on that, we would just say, hey guys, let's go support the local gas station.
Yeah.
And that's where we went to get our grub at Woodward.
Yeah.
And that just like that just kind of stuck with me because like phraseology and dialogue that I collect in the scootering industry is just like very resonating.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be the same thing as Northern Limited. And I know people speculate that like I took it from them. I totally didn't.
Yeah.
You know, like looking back, I kind of wish the name was different, but I hadn't, when I put the name on, I had no idea Northern Limited had that as well.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not really, I mean, it's not like I'm going to claim it or not like they're going to claim it. But I kind of have had a couple opportunities where I thought changing the name would be the move.
Yeah.
And people were just like, dude, don't
change it.
Great the way it is. The name is great the way it is. What are you doing? It sounds great. I love it. Keep it. We don't want any changes. Yeah. And so I kind of just went with that. And but the origin of the actual account itself happened at Bradley Gowdy's house, Scooter Brad.
Yeah.
This was like mere days before I was coming back. And I was just kind of like, we were watching some shows and stuff nightly. And each time I would quote a show. And maybe if I quoted something, I'd be like, oh, that's kind of like Dakota when he did this or something. I'd like kind of reference the scootering industry while we were discussing the show or the movie that we were watching. Yeah, because I'm such a big film buff, I can recollect so many different quotes, lines.
Sam's dialogue, got like a photographic memory of
context of all these shows and memes and movies and sportscast moments, just like really funny pieces of dialogue that I can interpret and apply in the context that makes sense to someone involved in the scootering community.
Oh yeah.
And I mocked one up. It's actually the very first meme on the page. And that was right. That time was, that's my pinpoint for the death of Phoenix Pro Scooters, because Phoenix Pro Scooters was not getting the funding necessary to pay their riders, and every rider quit in the span of 24 hours.
Yep.
And this is one of the most lackluster memes on the whole page, but it's the first one. So it kind of had that sentimental special place in my heart kind of vibe.
Yeah. And
I put a clip from Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which is a god awful film, by the way. With Adam Driver as Kylo Ren saying, "Blow that piece of junk out of the sky." And before that, I put a bunch of the announcements of the riders leaving Phoenix. Yeah. And the interpretation was that we were getting ready to blow Phoenix out of the sky, which is a bummer because Phoenix was actually a very influential company and one that resonated deeply with a bunch of scooter riders. So
I ran a Phoenix headset for years.
Oh man, you're an OG if you remember the grenade clamps that those boys had.
I had that in my cart at least 3 times and decided not to buy it.
I remember their suicide bars. Before I realized what girls were.
The suicide bars were dreaming.
That's probably what the second best thing to me was. So yeah, that's the origins of Gas Station. And since then the memes have gotten much more much more grounded, and they make more sense. The context is there, the research is put in place, and they just pair very nicely together. I try to make memes that aren't very temporary. I like timeless memes that people can look back on and reflect that time period. Yeah. Or if that's like a running gag that's still continuing the scootering industry today, all the better for the quality of the meme. So
for sure.
Definitely a worthy endeavor on my part. I am very glad that I chose to start that page, and man, it is It's bizarre the amount of feedback and positive reactions I've received. The only downside that I will attribute to that page is that it is tenfold more successful in terms of insights and impressions than my personal scootering page.
Yep, that's how it'll be. Well, I feel like you're almost like a news source with that. Lots of people get their like scooter industry news from from your memes for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, like and when I say there's a context behind a meme, for example, is the Phoenix going under. People hadn't really known that, and I was kind of their first understanding of that actually taking place.
That happening. Yeah, because they'd see a couple riders or whatever leaving Phoenix, but you didn't know the extent of it, really. Or at least
exactly. Yeah. So I'd be kind of the kind of person to both provide a comedic context through a film reference to these current happenings in scootering, and also kind of like give people insight into what's going on, because I'm pretty attentive and observant when it comes to the scootering industry. You kind of have to when you run a page like that. So
yeah, you know more about the scootering industry than anybody else I know. Also, I want to talk about your sponsorships and how you started getting sponsored, because I knew you were on Lucky for a little bit, and now you're on AO, of course, as like Flow Team, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty. It's pretty unclear what exactly the team construct of not only AO but many teams is. It kind of used to be a bit more concrete back in the day. Around 2011, 2012, they had pretty distinctive groups for what caliber of sponsor you were. Typically, it would be Flow is like pretty much bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
I mean, not that that's a bad thing, because you're sponsored regardless.
Yeah.
But that kind of just sort of entails parts when you need them, the occasional shout out. And following that would be AM, which is like amateur rider, which is kind of right in the middle. Not pro, not flow. You're kind of moved away up the totem pole a bit.
Yep.
And following that would either be Title, which that was like a park sort of team type thing in terms of stereotyping, the demographics in which these companies were shooting for.
Gotcha.
So like, for example, a team like Lucky would have a Title team where they had their like almost pro riders on. Cody Fromm,
gotcha.
Tanner Fox, and kind of those young guns that were showing clear promise but weren't quite at that age yet of being pro riders. Would be on the Title team. And then it was pro. And pro, like, regardless of what you hear, a pro rider, the distinction between a pro rider and an AM rider, regardless of what the company announces to you, is that you're paid. A salary in scootering means you're a professional. Gotcha. That's what it means in any other context anyway. Like, if you're a pro football player, you are paid. You are a paid to play football
athlete.
Yes, exactly. So technically, college athletes are amateur athletes.
Amateurs.
But like that word is thrown around so much that it seems like you're just saying, oh, they're kind of trash. No. There's plenty of amateur riders that I would gladly like to see switch places with pro riders in the industry.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think those names are thrown around too much and honestly don't mean a whole ton, in my opinion.
Yep.
But I've never really been at that pro level.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really venture in terms of like where I'd classify myself in terms of skill level, because a lot of people determine what quality of rider or what quality of sponsored rider you are based on your skill level. And that's just not the case.
It's not the case. No,
it's what you provide and contribute to the company that will inevitably determine what rank you are on the team.
Yeah.
So, if you have a ton of followers, regardless of your skill, you're probably going to be put on the pro team because you contribute sales to the company.
Because if they give you a like SIG part, then it'll sell because you have plenty of people that will buy it.
Precisely. Yeah. And that's where I feel like people like Trevor and I kind of get shafted, is that we are in, I don't want to say the middle of nowhere, but
The middle of nowhere.
Middle of nowhere. Much less densely populated area in terms of scooter riders.
Yep.
So there isn't as much direct influence going on. I think if you and I either lived in cities like LA, San Francisco, New York, Miami, places like that, maybe we'd probably have a better chance of getting sponsored and furthermore going pro. So that's kind of the layout of the pro rider, in my opinion.
Well, what I've noticed a lot with like just general industries is just like you have to kind of be in those meccas to it's I wouldn't say it's impossible if you're not, but it's harder if you're, it's way easier if you're in like a city like LA or Denver or somewhere that's like bigger and you can produce more content. But I think from what COVID has kind of taught me, at least, is that you can kind of do it from anywhere as long as you network the right way.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's kind of the only loophole, though.
Yep.
Because that is your avenue for gaining recognition and therefore attention from potential sponsors.
Yep.
So if you're in my position and yours for that matter, we don't live in densely populated cities or popular scootering areas or like meccas of scootering, such as, Los Angeles or San Diego. So there's not much competition scene. You aren't like known by people simply by riding in that respective area. So it's definitely reliant. You're reliant on social media to get your name out there.
You don't have any other way.
Or video parts. But those, I mean, and actually I was about to say those go hand in hand, but I know I would get a lot of heat for that. They don't go hand in hand, but they're both digital and universally accessible. So I think video part riding is definitely more like favored in terms of the mainstream. I love to see a
video part over Instagram feed. If you can
absolutely
make a video part, it will, one, last longer. Two, people will watch it for decades, honestly. And
it'll resonate so much more.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
If you put stuff on YouTube, if you put something on Instagram, I've heard other people say this, but if you put stuff on Instagram, it'll last like 30 minutes, basically. Like you have like a day where people will actually think about it. But like think of like R. Willie's Web Edit 3 or Web Edit 2 or any of the web edits really. Even before he was like super big, like people go back and watch those to this day. And it's just like, they just stand the test of time a little bit better than your Instagram edits will. So I think
really do. Yeah, no, definitely. I think Instagram is valuable because it has that instant gratification value to it that YouTube doesn't necessarily have.
Yeah.
Unless you're promoted by someone else, you can do a lot of self-promotion on Instagram, whereas it's not quite as popular or as easy on YouTube because you can comment, like, follow, and you can do those same things with subscribes, likes, comments on YouTube, but it's not mobile access. It's not like instantaneous viewership of this content. So it's a little bit more slowed down on YouTube, which I honestly prefer. But it makes it so much harder. So that's the value in Instagram. It's definitely allowed scootering to grow at a significantly faster rate than previous action sports such as skateboarding and BMX have.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it hasn't given us kind of the opportunity to mature. You know, we're still dabbling. We're still testing the water. We're still dipping our toes in. And there are riders that just want to belly flop into the water of mainstream media and pop culture with scootering. And the industry just isn't there yet. So
I agree.
But yeah, and reverting back to the whole sponsor conversation.
Yeah.
For those of you that are watching this that I know are kind of pondering the question, how do I get sponsored? I want to get sponsored really bad.
Yep.
my answer to that question, and I know that you've probably heard this many times before, it's been rehashed and it seems like it wouldn't work, but it does. You just wait, and do not have that demeanor about you or about your social media presence of looking for a sponsor. I'm unsponsored. Someone sponsor me. I need parts. Send me free parts. I want free swag. No, that is not the approach that is going to be looked at by potential sponsors. What sponsors want is someone that's going to represent their company further than just, I can do double overheads, or
oh my God,
I can 50-50. And then no, it doesn't matter what style of scootering you prefer.
No.
If you're the kind of person that I'm going to 50-50 this 20 stair handrail and do Ron Sharp Steve's arm out, and I am therefore warranted a sponsor. No, you're not. You definitely are not. You need that sense of purpose within your scootering, and you need to be someone that can be looked up to by not only the youth, but the current scene in scootering. You know, make a big footprint by how you conduct yourself on social media and the image that you put out there to the public. Because nowadays in scootering, anyone can be seen. I could pull up I could go on Instagram right now and pull up someone from the furthest reaching small town in
the corner, the middle of nowhere,
in the UK, if I really wanted to. And so you're always being monitored in a way by the scootering industry. And so that's why there's like so many of these people that are so marketable in scootering that have stuck with these companies for so long. I'll use the first example that comes to my mind, and this is probably like the most grounded, level-headed, mature, and I'm not like trying to kiss anyone's rear end by bringing this person up, but my goodness, is this person a great representation of how to get sponsored in scootering? Cody Flom.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Cody is I don't even know the kid. I've never met the kid, but like he is a very inspiring individual just by what I've seen from him. So
totally. And I had the privilege of actually briefly meeting him in New Zealand. I'm sure he definitely doesn't recall that. That was again on the back end, right around the time I was starting gas station, actually.
Oh, gotcha.
Now to think about it. But he has since actually followed gas station, and we have the occasional small conversation. And that is the epitome of what people should strive for in terms of becoming a sponsored rider. Very easy to talk to. Interacts with so many different fans from all across the world, has an extremely, extremely positive and likable personality. Someone that shows support to riders, not only on social media, but like in person as well. And that goes a long way, much further than people might think. And he's just like someone that you can't help but watch. People are attracted to other people that they wish to be like. And that's someone that people are inspired by for that very reason. And like above, not necessarily even above all that, because arguably skill is almost obsolete when you compare it to those sorts of things. There's riders that I would say don't necessarily have the caliber of riding that warrants a sponsorship, but they don't need one. That's not what scootering is about. They just want to grow the community and branch out, you know? But man, we cannot talk about Cody Flom without addressing his phenomenal riding abilities.
Oh my God, dude.
Probably the most versatile rider ever.
He is like a wizard, dude. He's literally a wizard.
People do not give him enough credit for his abilities in the street sort of game.
Where's this?
Just because of
isn't it coming? Isn't it coming?
It is. Yes, he's in the process of filming it right now. And like the people, and he's one of those riders that no one is going to like make up some sort of stereotypical objection to,
Yeah,
And
no.
now, like, I don't care what you say about the type of scooter he rides, the fact that he wears a helmet when he rides, how he wears a knee pad, how he typically rides skate parks.
Yeah.
Like, he is beyond versatile. And
Oh my God.
the consistency is absolutely unparalleled. And like,
Yeah, no.
no matter what your style choice is when it comes to scootering, consistency trumps almost everything else. And Cody Flom has fundamentals down to a T. And
Yeah.
I know that when this video part drops, it is going to be monumental. And like,
Oh yeah, it totally is.
don't let his scooter fool you. This kid can whip back lip handrails.
Yeah.
He can do like tons of park style tricks in the streets, but also has the flow, finesse, and balance that these kind of mainstream street style riders want to see in a video part.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Frankly, I haven't been more excited for a video part since Web Edit 3 dropped with Ryan Williams.
That was wild, dude. That blew my mind.
This is going to be a really highly anticipated video, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what Cody brings to the table. It's going to be a wide variety of different features, probably mega features, park features, street features, and who knows, he might throw a quad heel whip in there on flat ground. I mean, for all I know, he might do a quad heel flat running up to El Toro and then throw some crazy rail trick that we had not even thought that he would think of. So just like, know that Cody Flom is someone that you should take notes off of.
You think
if you're looking to get in the sponsor game.
It feels like for Cody Flom, at least, his style is just like he is on the come up as like one of the best riders in the world. Like I can see so much more coming out of him.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
Like I need to make memes about him not falling because I never see it. I don't think I have ever seen a video of him like actually slamming. I've seen
one of him fall and they were like, oh, look, he does actually fall.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like him dropping to his knee pads.
And beyond that, it's like some crazy box trick. And he lands one foot and maybe like the scooter gets away from him and he slides on his knees and he turns around with the biggest smile on his face.
Yeah.
Just laughing hysterically hard.
Yeah.
And just having the time of his life. And that as well. Like, I wanted to bring up that point as well, because that's a sponsorable rider. People inherently like to watch other people having fun. And Cody Flom has fun riding a scooter. You know? And Lucky found that. And I'm not the type of person that is going to outright commend Lucky for a lot of different things. I know that they garnered a lot of support at the beginning of scootering, and they've definitely contributed quite a bit in terms of what the riding that we see today.
Yeah.
But man, did they do right by Cody Flom. That he is hands down their most, not only profitable. I hate to just approach this from a marketing standpoint.
Well,
profitable,
it's true,
but like,
though. That's business. That's business.
Exactly. But also just most influential rider, hands down. People may argue and say, oh no, Tanner Fox is, and like,
he
Tanner
probably
Fox has.
I bet you Tanner has sold more scooters than
in terms of sales, perhaps. But like, I just like in terms of just the scootering industry, like man, the influence Cody Flom has had is truly remarkable. And also Tanner Fox, for that matter, if you choose to segue into him, like I was skeptical, like many have said before, at the start of his kind of seeming departure from scootering, which never ended up being the case anyway.
No,
he just kind of needed to feel his way through the YouTube environment.
Well, I understand going off of that completely why he did that, because he was just trying to grow on the platform of YouTube, which he did a great job doing it. He's a very smart kid. He like knows what he's doing. His investments like Space Station Gaming are like so inspiring for me, like being a business student
absolutely.
that I am. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's really cool. Like what he's doing on his podcast, like I'd go check that out because his stuff is awesome. But yeah, no, he's a really smart kid with the business stuff, and lucky
Absolutely.
keeping him as a sponsored rider is probably smart. And he's still like hucking double flares, dude. Like this kid
Yeah.
hasn't stopped.
Oh, he really hasn't lost his touch. And people may disagree with me saying that, but it's totally true. Like he really hasn't lost the dramatic flair, excuse the pun, that he has had for years, you know?
Yeah.
Really influential rider, very cool dude as well. I've gotten the opportunity to talk to him in the DMs.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise, on gas station.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe we'll reach out to him in the future and he'll bring us on No Fucks Given. Or we'll bring him to this one.
Or we'll bring him on here. Tanner, if you're listening for whatever reason,
Yeah.
I don't like hit me up. We'll get you on. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll talk about.
I think he seems like no pressure, Tanner, but he seems like the kind of person that would be game for something like that and kind of like lending a hand to the people that brought him up.
He totally.
Not saying that we did necessarily,
No.
but
he talked. He like has honestly done more for scootering than a lot of other people, just because of how much of a reach of different people he has had. Like he has just brought scootering to the eyes of people who hadn't seen it before, and a lot of those people. So it's just cool that he's had the ability to, I don't know, bring us out to the public more. So
absolutely, he has exposed the scootering industry in a way that no one else has.
Oh yeah. You can hate him for like going away or doing the tramp stuff or whatever, or buying cars or getting into cars, but everybody has hobbies. Everybody changes hobbies, and he comes back to scootering every time, dude.
And here's something that I will say in his defense, and this is not me saying that like what he did was like something that he should have done.
Yeah,
it's totally up to him. It doesn't matter. Totally up to him. This is a completely subjective, like path that he's on. There's no reason for anyone to chime in their input and tell him how to live his life. But this is what I will say.
Okay.
Anyone, and I mean anyone that was put in his position would have done the exact same thing. And like there is no going around that. And that's one of the reasons why I never really held a grudge with him departing from scootering.
No.
Because he really didn't. He was just feeling out other avenues of life. The kid worked so hard to be given this platform that he now utilizes as his literal livelihood.
I know.
And so for people to go and say that he abandoned scootering and he wasn't loyal enough to the community and he didn't do his like,
they're just jealous
duty and exposing, like it stems from jealousy, and it stems from nothing but ignorance, dude. Like,
yeah, total
ignorance. I think that he's someone that I will continue to be a fan of and have been for a while. Ever since that How to Buttercup video, dude, I've been on board.
Dude, right? The lucky How to Buttercup video. I remember watching his videos back before, like when he had like 1,000 subscribers, and they were just like him and his friends eating crap at Claremont. And it was just crazy. I think there was a point in time where Scooter Antics had more subscribers than Tanner Fox. It was right in the beginning, but I remember that, dude. It was just funny to me.
Sir. Him and Maverick Leonard had that that YouTube channel at first. What is it called? MT Films.
MT Films. Yeah, that's what it was called. Yep.
Kenner, if you watch this, just know that I remember that. So maybe I'm on a pedestal a little bit higher than a few of your other fans.
Okay. Yeah, geez. No.
But yeah, no, like how far scootering has come, and then reverting back to Tanner, like it's all grown so much, and I think no one can really look down on him for what he's done.
Yeah.
Really, really good stuff happening, and still continues to happen with Tanner. So
yeah. Another thing that I want to talk about is you're not the only one that's successful in your family. So I just wanted to have you talk about your family a little bit, and your dad and your
yeah. So I was given the two-wheel gene
Yes, you were. Yes, you were.
My family comes from like not even. It's funny. I was about to say my family comes from a long line of, but not a long line at all. My mom and my dad
Yeah.
started this line, this line of mountain bikers, and like, so they actually met on the pro mountain bike racing circuit, cross country mountain bike racing.
Yeah.
And my dad was they actually met in the 1994 national championships.
Okay.
For mountain biking during the race, and they were both given a spot on Diamondback Bikes racing team, which is actually very surprising because Diamondback kind of delves into more of a BMX brand. Yeah. I don't know how well they're doing anymore, but they were kind of like hot shit back in the day. Like, they were really up there. And they were on right at the start. They are the most veteran Diamondback riders you will ever find. Yeah. And that's what kind of like started their careers. And they raced for a number of years after that. My mom got second in national championships. Yeah. And I think one or 2 years actually. And my dad podiumed a number of times as well.
You beat Lance.
But their kind of stardom didn't begin necessarily for another few years. First happening with my mom in like definitely I would assume would be the highlight of her mountain bike racing career, which happened in the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia. She took home the bronze medal.
Really?
At the Olympics. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you actually knew that.
Wow. I didn't know that.
My mom's an Olympic bronze medalist, and it's hilarious that they're probably going to get around to seeing this, and they're going to be like, Sam, why would you go and talk about us? They're like the most modest people ever.
No, I asked, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Like, and that is my cue. That is my justification for being able to talk about them and boast about them. I'm like, Mom, I don't bring it up, but if someone else brings it up, I'm going all out. You know? Sure. And so, in the 96 Olympics, my mom got a bronze medal. She still has it to this day. It's beautiful. My mom hates it, but I love it.
Because basically what happened is I came home from college or whatever, and I was telling my dad about how I had met Sam and was riding with Sam. He's like, wait, is that Dave's son? I was like, I don't know. I can ask him. And I'm like,
which is truly bizarre. That is truly bizarre.
My dad keeps telling the story. He just does this all the time. He's like, I was at Leadville when they were doing the race, and I was peeing in the urinal, and then Dave Wiens came up next to me and was peeing in the urinal next to me. I was like, wow, I'm peeing next to Dave.
Oh my God. My dad didn't get that part of the story, and he's going to hear this and laugh his ass off at that. Yeah. That is hilarious. That is such a cool memory. Wow, that's like my dad's gonna get a really big kick out of that. Same with my mom.
Then, my dad pulled out a binder and he's like, hey Trevor, look at this. It's like, what? And he just has a picture that he drew of Dave because he was all inspired or whatever. My dad's
that's great.
So we have a picture of Sam's dad in our house. So
that is amazing. Yeah, no, that's really cool.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'll segue into that right now, actually. My dad was kind of, I guess, again, most known for competing, like racing in the Leadville Trail 100 mountain bike race in Leadville. 10,000 feet. It's called the Race Across the Sky for a reason.
Crazy.
Like really intense, world-renowned mountain bike race that many people have tried. Some have failed. Yeah. A few have succeeded. And my dad just happened to be one of those people that really succeeded. He ended up winning the race six consecutive times.
He won it 6 times in a row?
And the final one being Lance Armstrong in 2009. 2009. Damn, he's in there like 2008 or 2009. I'm sorry, Dad. I don't know exactly. I think it's 2000.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it's
2009.
Okay.
Don't know for sure,
Yeah.
No, you know what? I'm gonna revert back to 2008 because I was still a young gun at that time. Like, man, like me and my brother were 3 foot nada, So,
Here, I got it. I'm pulling.
oh, cool. Yeah.
I'm pulling up his Wikipedia page. So you know. Yes, 2008. 2008.
Okay. There we go. Yeah, 2008 was the final one. So, it was 2002, 2008 that he raced it, and yeah.
And then in 2009, he finished second behind Lance. So.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry. Okay. So he did it one more year after that, and Lance ended up winning it that year. And that was the final year.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And that garnered tons of recognition. And
Yeah.
like, my dad's the kind of person that receives recognition well, but doesn't necessarily want it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's really good at talking about his successes, but he's kind of like not really
he's not going to boast about it.
I want to relive all these moments. He's just kind of like, that happened. I enjoyed. I had a good time. Kind of move on to the next adventure kind of thing. And so, yeah, and like that was just like a really big highlight. Also for my family as well, like my 2 other siblings, Cooper, who's 2 years older, and Ben, who's my twin brother. Yeah. Because we actually lived that, Yeah. The kind of unfortunate thing is we didn't get to live my mom's experience. We weren't even a thought yet. I definitely wasn't, because I was the mistake. I mean, technically, because I came out second.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, definitely, like, I'd say I attribute a lot of my scootering skills in terms of balance and potentially like physical stamina to them.
I feel like they threw you on a bike probably pretty early, didn't they?
And I was on a bike at 3 years old, probably skis around the same time. So yeah, it was definitely like kind of a run in the family type thing. But I think it's really cool that I kind of just like my brother Cooper kind of stuck with mountain biking and kind of took that on as he has the last 4 years of college. Yeah, he actually finished his final year of collegiate mountain bike racing through Fort Lewis here, where we're both going to be attending next year.
Yeah.
And he did really well. He got 3rd in the nation last year, which is really good.
What?
I'm pretty sure 3rd or 2nd or 3rd in the nation in
cross country,
in XC mountain bike racing.
Wow,
which is great. Yeah, and then my brother Ben is involved with singing and songwriting. Currently, he goes to school in downtown Denver at Metro, but he's currently working actually because Metro kind of blew a gasket when COVID hit and shut down their music program, which is rather unfortunate. But yeah, he's doing fine. And then I kind of just like picked up scootering, which is one of the more unlikely of hobbies or pastimes.
You
in
wanted
the year
something different.
2012.
It's the same, but it's different.
And it's funny. It's funny that you mentioned the mountain biking and just biking in general, is because I kind of picked it up as well. Back in 2009, I watched, and I'm sure many people are going to know what I'm talking about, because I know scooter riders originated scootering from this, regardless if it was immediate or kind of a indirect relation. But I watched Danny McCaskill back in 2009. Yeah. And that April 2009 video, I don't know if you're going to edit this down, Trevor, and if you're interested in putting film clips in it. Yeah. But there is a video called Danny McCaskill Inspired Bicycles 2009, which is, I attribute that video to every ounce of my passion for action sports. And that then kind of segues into scootering. And I did kind of trials and BMX kind of mixed together. It's funny because me and one of my older friends, Tabor from back in the day, we kind of mixed them both together, because we didn't have bikes that were specifically designed for trials. We had free coasters and small 16-inch wheel BMX bikes. Yep. And so what we just called it BT biking,
which is like, we stood for like BMX Trials Biking. We just called it BT Biking. And we did that for a good 3.5 years.
There's where your balance came from. Jeez.
Definitely. And then after that, scootering, I saw a World's Craziest Scooter Tricks video pop up on YouTube, and I recommended.
Yep.
And the rest is history. So.
Yep. Well, that's kind of how I got started too, because me and my neighbor Devin, you haven't met him yet, but I'm sure you will. He's a big computer nerd now. He's an IT grad and stuff.
Oh, cool.
So he's doing that stuff. But we were just like, we had our Razor A models that when we were little kids. And actually my neighbor before Devin moved in, it was Jackson and Joey, and they went to the other school in town, like the private Christian one. But we would have these scooter shows in our neighborhood. So we'd have all these people, we'd invite all of our neighbors, and we'd have like the
parents and stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And we'd have these scooter shows where we'd like do little scooter tricks. But this was way before like I started scootering. We'd do like 180s and stuff off of the little ramp, and we'd sell all of my parents' food back to them and stuff like that, and just have like a little concession stand, and all the older neighbors that we had would come over and watch. And it was just funny. We had our little business model because we'd have lemonade stands and stuff too. So we'd do this.
Oh yeah.
And then I stopped for a while. I don't know if I stopped, but they were really into sports. So I did like baseball and football and basketball and was doing all that stuff. And then Devin moved in and we started scootering again. And I was like doing 180s and 360s and trying to learn how to tail whip. And I was like, I wonder if this is like actually a thing, because we had like never seen any videos or anything. So we went to my computer downstairs and we're like, all right, pro scootering, right? So the first thing that pops up, I think, was Terry Price's
mini video.
I think so, wherever he double backflipped.
Mini video.
Yep.
2009.
Yep. We saw that video, and then we're like, oh my gosh, there's actually like an industry behind this. So then I found Max Peters and all of his stuff that he was doing for Envy.
Hey, shout out Max Peters.
Yeah. So I got the original KOS before they had like their series of like Soul Heist, whatever. I got the original KOS, and I got the pegs, and I had to convince my mom. It was like $350. And I was like, Mom, like, I need this. Like, we need to get this. And she's like, Trevor, there's no way I'm spending $300 on a scooter. So I'm like, okay, let's go to Toys R Us, rip Toys R Us. And we went to Toys R Us and got a Razor Pro Black Label. And I rode that thing for like 3 months, like religiously. We thought this thing was the shit. Like, it was so cool. And all my friends were like, oh, I need one. So then a couple of them got like the other Razor Pro ones. And then summer came, and I'm like, Mom, I need a new scooter. Like, this one's starting to break down. Like, the wheels like flat spotted. And so then I got that KOS, and yeah, the rest is history. I rode that KOS for a year. I didn't change anything except for grips and grip tape for a year. And then I snapped.
Lovely.
I snapped the bars like right after I learned how to bri. So like in that year, I learned how to like tail whip right away when I got it. And then learned how to bri at the end of the year, and then snap my bars. And then, the rest is history. You can see all of that on YouTube. So yeah.
Hell yeah. That's sweet.
All right. Well, I'm probably going to stop that there. It's probably been about an hour. So it's been nice to talk to you, Sam. I'm sure we'll do
absolutely. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm sure when Trevor and I are both in Durango, we'll be able to do this more often.
Yeah.
Also, maybe get some really special guests on, because I'm awesome. Sure both of us have some connections. I know I have some connections.
Yep.
I might be able to get some really influential people in scootering on this podcast.
I want to bring in a bunch of people from outside of scootering too, and like business and other action sports, and see how their kind of view on our industry is too, because I think that will be very beneficial for everybody.
That'd be very insightful. And if that went to, if that made it online and people watched the forum, maybe they become a little bit more educated on what scootering really is about. So,
oh, of course. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been nice to have you on, Sam. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Wherever you're listening, I'm hopefully going to have this up on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, along with some other stuff on my Instagram at Outlook_Industries. You can go follow that now. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Support your local gas station.